This is a team that I copied from someone since I was trying to make use of Charizard and I couldn't, so they surprised me with Magnezone at the very end alongside Annihilape, so I decided to give it a shot and this team absolutely worked for me. So Gyarados up in front is gonna be the most general lead that you're gonna use throughout the entire meta, and I want to start with this battle because everyone is gonna use a Gyarados and here it is trainers up in front, so you need to go ahead and let your own Gyarados go down, farm down as much as possible in the process with your Annihilape and see how the battle is gonna turn around, because you are gonna have a ton of fun time with your Annihilape, able to farm so much energy so that you can start getting some shields along the way or just guarantee the nuke against certain opponents. Over here we got the crazy energy lead over that Metagross. They want to double block here and another one is coming up on that poor Excadrill. You know what, this is still looking pretty promising for me because we're having the upper hand with Magnezone now since Excadrill is out of the way. Look at that, absolutely wonderful, and we couldn't have been in that amazing situation that we are right now if our Annihilape was not around. So here comes now the final wild charge and we can grab this first victory to get the video going. Into the next battle now with that Gardevoir up in front, and this is obviously one of the worst ones that you can get. Not only that, but we also got a little bit of FPS drop and they sneak through there that final charm, but it makes no difference at all because they still want to get to the triple axel to raise their attack stat. I was expecting them to stay in a little bit longer, but to my surprise they switched out to Snorlax, and to not prove me wrong or anything, but that was the correct play, okay? So over here now we're having kinda the upper hand with our Annihilape, and I'm saying kinda because after that crazy damage from Outrage they still managed to get to another move with the Body Slam to push me to my limits, and I get that idea that I can farm down, we can absolutely do that and still guarantee the knockout over that Gardevoir. However, they end up having a Swampert at the back, which is a ground type Pokemon, but with Flash Cannon here we might actually have a chance up against them, because not only we can apply so much damage on them being resisted as well, but also at the same time we cannot debuff ourselves with that Wild Charge. So now, speaking of Wild Charge, it is the perfect timing for us to go for a pair for the shield and for the knockout, but they can survive with a minimal amount of HP possible. So down we go now to the Hydro Cannon and one more counter to destroy down that Swampert. However, we both go down at the same time, so that was a draw, but for me it definitely counts as a big W because we were having a very rough time with that Shadow Gardevoir. Into the next battle now with the Excadrill, and all we need to do here is to land at least one Aqua Tail. My opponent realizes that even with no shields they can easily destroy down my Gyarados, so they want to rely on that shield advantage. However, in the process they are getting walled down with that Gyarados and my Magnezone, so I guess we can easily farm down over here. I'm expecting that Excadrill to return to suck some of my remaining energy, and Wild Charge is still gonna be thrown at the proper timing, and another pair of Wild Charges is coming back to back. But I guess that at this point we can throw the moves and still switch out to any of our backline Pokemon, and since this is an Annihilape video, I'm just gonna bring it into the fight. They see Annihilape, they get out of here, so we're gonna take another huge victory for us. Annihilape into action up against a Tyranitar now, and I know that this is kind of a bad one for me, not only because Tyranitar carries a rock type fast attack for my Gyarados, but also we're meeting up with a Charmer, but hopefully we get a shield in the process. That can be kinda clutch for us now because Magnezone goes in, and seeing the Smackdown user up in front, the Charmer coming in as a very nice Pokemon on the switch over my Annihilape makes me think that perhaps their third Pokemon might also be a Charmer, but to my surprise they have a Snorlax, so going here for those Wild Charges might be the optimal choice for me. And now we got the Flash Cannon to almost one-shot down the remaining HP and the full HP actually of Tyranitar. That was crazy. Not a lot of people are gonna expect Flash Cannon from your Magnezone, so with that in mind now, all we need to do is to completely farm down with our Dragon Breaths, and this happened all because of my Flash Cannon over that Tyranitar, and that was an amazing win for us. Into the next battle now with the Dragonite up in front. And because these were my first battle in Master Premier, I was not getting used to those alignments, to those team compositions, so then I found out that every single Dragonite out there is gonna be paired up with double steel at the back. So that was kinda of a misunderstanding for my part, because over here I'm gonna get into the battle with my Magnezone, and you're gonna see in a while what I mean, because I end up blocking here the superpower, farm down so much energy in the process, but here is Excadrill. You know what, the battle is definitely not over yet, but I could go ahead and farm some extra with my Annihilape, because now in the one shield scenario, all we need to do is to go ahead and throw the Sad Ball to one-shot down that Metagross. But look at that, they survive with 1 HP. Are you kidding me? Well, this is kind of a revenge of all that previous battles that we were having on this one, but it doesn't matter because Annihilape is still gonna be able to do so much damage on that poor Excadrill, and we still have some energy to throw from our Magnezone, about 100, but we still get destroyed down by those CMPs. So yeah, that was a heartbreaking loss, but definitely a well-deserved victory for my opponent, because they went through their limits, over their limits, farming up so much energy and reaching to back-to-back moves. Pretty good calculation if you ask me from my opponent, and grabbed this victory. Into the next battle now with the Togekiss on the Switch. Pretty much like that Gyarados matchup, we're gonna have the upper hand no matter what, but at the same time this is kinda better for my opponent, because they can still reach to a charge attack if we are not careful and finish us off. But instead I decide to sacrifice a shield in the process, get out of here with a Flash Cannon, but they end up predicting that move. I guess that was kinda of a bad luck situation, because most probably no dragon type out there is gonna block your Flash Cannon, thinking it might be either a Wild Charge or a Mirror Shot. So now with only Metagross remaining at the very end, I'm just gonna flex my non-existent muscles, and of course my rage is gonna be over 9000, so down they go with a Sad Ball and one more counter to guarantee the victory up against Haxorus. Into the final one, but now trainers, and we're having Excadrill up in front. All we need to do here once again is to survive the move and go for at least one Aqua Tail, but my opponent is gonna bring into the game Snorlax, and this is the perfect timing for me to come into the battle with my Annihilape. As it seems, my opponent here doesn't even have Earthquake or that Outrage, so we're gonna be kinda safe for now, able to do so much work with our fast attacks. Now it is time to throw my Ice Punch, because I'm getting severely low and I do not want to block a potential Body Slam, so in the process I'm just gonna try to do as much damage as possible with my counters and my Ice Punches on whatever follows. That Pokemon is the amazing Excadrill, and now they have a Dragon Tail version which is Legacy on the Gyarados at the very end. Hopefully for us though, Magnezone emerging like a proper UFO is gonna give us an alienated victory for us, because not only we can destroy them down with those Volt Switches, but at the same time we have a rampage of attacks over the shields and the Excadrill to grab that final victory for us. That was an amazing video to create. Master Premier is so fun, and I hope that you're enjoying yourselves as well. But before you go trainers, since this was the end of this video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to catch you all up into the next one.